Marcus Okonkwo was home. After 14 months conquering Europe and Asia, the billionaire pharmaceutical mogul finally stood in his Victoria Island mansion, a glass of 30-year-old cognac in his hand. Everything was perfect. Everything was in order. Then he saw it. The maid walking past him wore a silver bracelet, his late wife's bracelet, the one with the Okonkwo family crest, the one he'd given to his daughter Amara, who was supposed to be studying fashion in Paris. Stop. The word exploded from his mouth. The glass shattered on marble. Turn around. Now! The maid turned slowly. Her head tie fell away. Familiar curls tumbled down. Amara? Marcus's voice broke. Oh, God. Amara, his daughter, his precious, spoiled princess, stood before him in a faded maid's uniform, her hands callous and worn, tears streaming down her face. Hello, Papa. Marcus fell to his knees, and his world shattered with his glass. Behind them, footsteps echoed, his sister Ngozi running, desperate, her 14 months of lies about to explode. Marcus, I can explain. Explain. Marcus's roar shook the chandelier. Explain why my daughter is a maid in my own house while I've been sending money for her Paris apartment? Ngozi's face twisted with rage. She deserved it. She was spoiled. Wasteful. You said she needed a change. So you turned her into a slave? The mansion fell silent. Every servant, every guard, frozen in shock. Amara stepped forward, her voice steady despite her tears. Papa, there's more. 6 months here as a maid, but 6 months before that you don't know about. 6 months on the streets of Lagos that will change everything you think you know. Marcus looked at his daughter, at her strength, her dignity, her transformation, and knew his life had just been torn apart. Tell me, he whispered. Tell me everything. And so the truth began to unfold. Hello, guys. Welcome to my African Tales. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and share it with your friends, and most important thing, turn your notification bell so you can get informed when I drop another amazing story. Drop your thoughts and reactions in the comments. What would you do if your spouse tried to kill you and you survive? Will you take a revenge or disappear forever? The argument that would change everything started on a Thursday afternoon in Marcus Okonkwo's study, 3 hours before his departure to Europe. You're spoiled, Amara, rotten to the core. Marcus slammed his hand on the mahogany desk, making his gold pen set jump. 300,000 naira a month isn't enough? You spent that on one handbag. 22-year-old Amara held up the Hermes bag like a trophy, her freshly done Brazilian weave bouncing with attitude. You don't understand fashion, Papa. This is an investment. Everyone at the Paris Fashion Institute has authentic pieces. I can't show up with fakes. Everyone? Everyone. Marcus's voice dropped to a dangerous calm, the tone his business rivals feared most. You want to know what everyone has? Your age mates in Adjugan will have hunger. They have dreams they can't afford. They have... Oh, please, not another I started from nothing speech. Amara rolled her eyes, examining her fresh acrylic nails. That was your life, Papa. Not mine. I didn't ask to be born rich. Marcus felt something crack inside his chest. He stared at his only child, his precious daughter who looked so much like her late mother but had none of her humility. Chioma would be heartbroken to see what their daughter had become. You're right, he said quietly. You didn't ask for it, and maybe that's a problem. What's that supposed to mean? Amara's perfectly made-up face showed the first flicker of concern. It means you've never earned anything, never struggled, never felt the weight of a single day's honest work. Marcus picked up his phone, his decision made. I'm leaving for 14 months. Europe, then Asia. Major expansion deals. When I return, I want to see change. Amara, real change. Amara laughed, sharp and bitter. Or what? You'll cut me off? We both know you won't, Papa. You love me too much. The words hung between them like a challenge. Marcus looked at his daughter in her designer outfit, head to toe Gucci, shoes alone worth more than his first car, and saw a stranger wearing his late wife's face. You're right. I won't cut you off completely. His smile was cold. But your Aunt Ngozi will manage your allowance while I'm gone. She'll make sure you have everything you need. Papa, wait. Amara's confidence cracked slightly. No more discussion. My flight leaves in 3 hours. Marcus grabbed his briefcase, already mentally moving to his next meeting. Ngozi knows what you need better than you do. Listen to her. Learn from her. Become someone your mother would be proud of. He walked out without looking back, missing the way Amara's face crumpled, missing the tears that started to fall. He also missed his sister Ngozi watching from the doorway, her expression unreadable. Outside, Lagos traffic roared with its usual chaos. Street vendors sold suya and pure water. Danfo buses honked aggressively, and the city pulsed with hustle and survival. Marcus's convoy moved through it all like a shark through water, untouched, untouchable. In the back seat of his Lexus SUV, Marcus closed his eyes. Tough love, he told himself. That's what Amara needed. A little discipline, a tighter budget. Nothing drastic, just enough to teach her the value of money. His phone buzzed to Sister Ngozi. Don't worry, brother. I'll take care of everything. Amara will learn the lessons she needs. I promise you that. Marcus smiled, relieved. He trusted Ngozi completely. She'd help raise Amara after Chioma died. She understood what needed to be done. He had no idea he just handed his daughter over to a woman whose jealousy had festered for decades. A woman who saw this as her chance for revenge. The trap was set, and Amara was about to fall into hell. 1 week after Marcus left Nigeria, Amara's world began to crumble. She sat in her bedroom, a suite larger than most Lagos apartments, with a walk-in closet full of designer clothes and a bathroom with gold fixtures. Scrolling through her phone, her friends in Paris were posting pictures from Fashion Week. She should have been there. A knock on the door interrupted her sulking. "Come in," she called without looking up. Aunt Ngozi entered, her face serious. She held an envelope in her hands. "Amara, we need to talk. If this is about Papa's lecture, I don't want to hear it." Amara continued scrolling. "He'll calm down when he gets back. He always does. Sit up and look at me." Ngozi's voice was sharp, sharper than Amara had ever heard it. Something in her tone made Amara obey. She sat up, finally meeting her aunt's eyes. What she saw there made her stomach twist. "Your father has given me complete control of your finances," Ngozi said, placing the envelope on the bed. "Inside is your new monthly allowance, 50,000 naira. Amara laughed. 50,000? That's a joke, right? I spend that on lunch." "Not anymore." Ngozi's smile was cold. "Your credit cards have been canceled. Your Paris apartment lease has been terminated. Your tuition payments have been suspended." The room tilted. "What? No, Papa wouldn't. Your father wants you to learn the value of money. So do I." Ngozi moved to the closet, running her hand along the designer clothes. "In fact, I'm going to teach you better than he ever imagined. Aunt Ngozi, please. These clothes? Selling them. The jewelry? Gone. This room." Ngozi gestured around the luxurious space. "You'll be moving to the servants' quarters by the end of the week." Amara jumped up, her heart pounding. "You can't do this. Papa would never allow. Your father is in London, unreachable for the next 3 months while he handles sensitive negotiations." Ngozi pulled out her phone, showing Amara an email. "He's given me full authority, and I'm going to use it." "Why?" Amara's voice cracked. "Why are you doing this?" Ngozi's face transformed, years of hidden resentment finally surfacing. "Because you're a spoiled, ungrateful child who has no idea what real life is like. Because I had to watch my younger brother get everything while I got nothing. Because your mother, perfect, humble Chioma, was praised for her virtue while I was called ambitious and difficult. You're insane." "No, my dear." Ngozi moved closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. "I'm finally getting justice. You have 1 week to enjoy your comfortable life. Then you'll learn what it means to have nothing, just like I had nothing." She turned and walked toward the door, then paused. "Oh, and don't bother calling your father. I've been managing his calls. Any message you try to send will go through me first. As far as Marcus knows, you're in Paris, studying hard, learning your lesson. He'll find out when he comes back." "In 14 months?" Ngozi laughed. My dear, you have no idea what can happen in 14 months. People disappear in Lagos every day. Spoiled rich girls who can't survive without daddy's money, they vanish like smoke. The door closed, leaving Amara alone in her gilded cage. She grabbed her phone with shaking hands, trying to call her father. The call wouldn't go through. She tried texting. The message failed. She tried her friends, but her phone service had been suspended. Amara looked around her luxury bedroom, at all the things she'd taken for granted, and for the first time in her privileged life, she felt true fear. The nightmare had only just begun. 3 months later, Amara stood outside the gates of her father's mansion with nothing but the clothes on her back. Cheap, ill-fitting clothes from Balaga Market that Ngozi had forced her to wear. Please, Amara begged, tears streaming down her face. Please don't do this. I'll change. I'll be better. Just let me stay. Ngozi stood inside the gates, her face impassive. You wanted to be independent? Here's your chance. Your father wanted you to learn the value of money? Consider this an advanced course. Where will I go? I have no money, no phone, nothing. Then you'll learn to survive like millions of Lagosians do every day. Ngozi signaled the security guard. If you try to come back, I'll have you arrested for trespassing. I've already filed papers claiming you stole from the household. Try me. The gate slammed shut. Amara stood on the street in Ikoyi, watching luxury cars drive past, staring at the mansion she'd lived in her entire life. Inside those walls were soft beds, hot water, food, safety. Out here was Lagos, real Lagos, and she had no idea how to survive it. She started walking. By nightfall, she'd reached Ojalegba. Her feet ached in the cheap slippers Ngozi had given her. She was hungry, truly hungry, for the first time in her life. The 50 naira in her pocket wouldn't buy much. Sister, you look lost. A woman selling akara by the roadside called to her. You need help. Amara almost cried at the kindness in the stranger's voice. I need somewhere to sleep. The woman, whose name was Mama Ejiro, studied her carefully. You run away from somewhere? You be JJC, Johnny just come. Amara didn't know what to say. If she told the truth, no one would believe her. You fit sleep for my shop tonight, Mama Ejiro said finally. But tomorrow you go find work. This Lagos no day give free food to anybody. That night, Amara slept on a mat on the floor of a wooden shop, surrounded by the sounds of Lagos at night. Generators humming, people shouting, music playing, life continuing in the darkness. She cried silently, thinking of her soft bed, her designer pillows, her air-conditioned room. The next morning, Mama Ejiro woke her at 4 a.m. If you go chop my food, you go work, the older woman said firmly. You fit help me sell akara. I go pay you small. And so Amara's education began. She learned to wake before dawn to prepare bean cakes. She learned to bargain with customers who tried to cheat her. She learned that 200 naira meant the difference between eating and going hungry. She learned to dodge Danfo buses and navigate Lagos traffic on foot. She learned which areas were safe and which would swallow a naive girl whole. She learned that the designer handbag she fought with her father about could have fed Mama Ejiro's family for 6 months. The streets were brutal. Men harassed her. Thieves tried to rob her. She got sick from bad water and had to work through it because she couldn't afford medicine. Her hands, once soft and manicured, became rough from hot oil and hard work. But something else happened too. She learned the names of the people around her. Baba Sul, who sold newspapers, Ani Kemi, who braided hair on the bridge, young Emeka, who hustled as a bus conductor but dreamed of going to university. Real people with real dreams, fighting every day to survive. People who made her realize she'd never really lived at all. 6 months on the streets changed Amara completely. The spoiled girl who couldn't function without servants learned to wash her own clothes in a bucket. The princess who threw tantrums over designer shoes learned to repair her worn slippers with glue and prayers. The heiress who spent thousands on meals learned to make 100 naira stretch for an entire day. But the real change went deeper than survival skills. One afternoon, Mama Ejiro fell sick. She had malaria but couldn't afford treatment. Amara used her entire week's earnings, 1,500 naira, to buy medicine from a pharmacy. Why you do this? Mama Ejiro asked weakly. That not your money. You need Am. You helped me when I had nothing, Amara said simply. This is what family does. Mama Ejiro's eyes filled with tears. She held Amara's roughened hands. You good Pekin. Whatever trouble you run from, it goes sort out. God day. But Amara wasn't running anymore. She was learning. She learned that real wealth wasn't designer bags, but in Mama Ejiro sharing her last meal. It wasn't in luxury cars, but in the Danfo conductor who made sure she got home safely. It wasn't in gold jewelry, but in the community that protected each other when police came for bribes. Then one day, everything changed again. A woman in an expensive car stopped to buy akara, unusual for that neighborhood. She looked at Amara carefully. You're too educated to be selling akara, the woman said. The way you speak, the way you carry yourself, you're different. Amara froze, afraid her past had caught up with her. I'm Mrs. Adeyemi, the woman continued. I run a domestic staffing agency. I place educated girls in good homes. You interested? What kind of homes? Amara asked carefully. Rich families in Ikoyi, Victoria Island. They want smart girls who can read, write, speak good English. The pay is better than this. Mrs. Adeyemi handed her a card. Think about it. That night, Amara stared at the card. Go back to the world of wealth. But as a servant instead of a princess, the old Amara would have burned the card in disgust. But the new Amara understood something profound. Every honest work had dignity. Mama Ejiro sold akara with pride. Baba Sul sold newspapers with honor. Why should domestic work be different? More than that, she missed something she'd never expected to miss. Her father, despite everything, despite the argument, despite his harshness, she had 14 months to think about his words. He'd been right. She'd been spoiled, wasteful, blind to her privilege. She wanted to tell him she understood now. She wanted him to see who she'd become. And there was only one place she could do that. I'll take the job, she told Mrs. Adeyemi the next day. But I have one condition. Place me in the Okonkwo household in Victoria Island. Mrs. Adeyemi's eyes widened. The pharmaceutical billionaire? His household is very strict. His sister manages it personally. I know, Amara said quietly. That's exactly where I need to be. Mrs. Adeyemi studied her curiously, but nodded. I'll make it happen. But you'll use a different name. They do background checks. Call me Ada, Amara said, thinking of her mother's middle name. Just Ada. 2 weeks later, Amara walked back to the gates of her childhood home. Not as a spoiled heiress who'd been thrown out, but as Ada the maid, ready to face her aunt and wait for her father's return, ready to show him and herself that she'd finally learned what it meant to be truly wealthy. Now, 6 months after returning as Ada, Amara stood in the mansion corridor watching her father process everything she told him. The other servants had been dismissed. Only Marcus, Amara, and Ngozi remained in the grand living room. You've been here for 6 months, Marcus said slowly, watching me on video calls, hearing me ask about you, knowing I was sending money for a Paris apartment that didn't exist. And you said nothing? I needed to know if you'd recognize me, Papa. If you'd see past the uniform and actually see me. Amara's voice was steady now. All tears dried. But also, I needed to finish what I started. I needed to prove I could survive anything. Even working as a maid in my own home under my aunt's cruelty. Cruelty? Marcus turned to Ngozi, his voice deadly quiet. What did you do to her? Ngozi's face was defiant. I gave her the hardest tasks. Made her clean toilets, scrub floors, work in the hot sun. I gave her the smallest portions of food, the worst sleeping quarters. I wanted her to suffer like. Like you suffered? Marcus interrupted. This was never about teaching Amara. This was about revenge, about decades of jealousy, because Papa sent me to university instead of you. Yes. Ngozi screamed, years of resentment exploding. Yes, it was revenge. You got everything, Marcus. Education, opportunities, respect. I got nothing but expectations to marry well and be quiet. And then you married perfect Chioma, and everyone loved her, and she gave you a daughter who got even more than you had. And you destroyed an innocent girl's life because of your bitterness, Marcus finished coldly. Pack your things. You're leaving this house tonight. I'll transfer money for an apartment, but you'll never see Amara or me again. You can't. Get out. Security escorted Ngozi away, her protests echoing through the mansion. When silence finally fell, Marcus turned to his daughter. I failed you, he said quietly. I gave you everything except what you actually needed, my time, my attention, my guidance. I thought money could raise you. I was wrong. You weren't completely wrong, Papa. Amara moved closer. I was spoiled, wasteful, entitled. You were right to be angry. You just chose the wrong person to discipline me. And look what happened. Marcus gestured at her maid's uniform, his voice breaking. Look what she did to you. No, Papa. Amara took his hands. Look what I did to myself. What I became because of it. She told him everything then. About Mama Ejiro's kindness. About learning to survive on 100 naira a day. About the dignity she'd found in honest work. About the people who'd helped her when she had nothing. Who'd shown her what real community meant. The girl you sent away 14 months ago would never have survived what I survived, Amara said. She would have given up, called you crying, demanded rescue. But I didn't want rescue, Papa. I wanted transformation. And I got it. Marcus looked at his daughter, really looked at her, at the strength in her scarred hands, the wisdom in her eyes, the grace in her posture despite the humble uniform. She looked like her mother now, not just in appearance but in spirit. What happens now? He asked. Amara smiled, a real smile full of warmth and forgiveness. Now I finish my education, but I'll pay for it myself. I'll work in your company, but I'll start at the bottom and earn my way up. And every month, I'll donate half my salary to people like Mama Ejiro, people who taught me what real wealth means. And what is real wealth? Marcus asked softly. It's not what you have, Papa. Amara pulled him into an embrace. It's who you become when everything is taken away. It's the people who love you when you have nothing to give them. It's knowing that you can lose everything and still be rich in the things that matter. Marcus held his daughter, his transformed, remarkable daughter, and wept, not from sadness, but from pride. The billionaire had lost his spoiled princess, but he gained something far more valuable. A daughter who understood that true wealth couldn't be measured in naira and kobo, but in character, resilience, and love. Outside, Lagos continued its endless hustle, millions of people surviving, struggling, dreaming. And somewhere in Ojalegba, Mama Ejiro smiled as she sold Accra, not knowing that the girl she'd saved was now a billionaire's daughter who would never forget her. The story of Amara Okonkwo had come full circle, and it was just beginning. 1 year later, Amara stood in the same mansion, but everything was different. She completed her degree through evening classes while working in her father's company mailroom. She created a foundation for street vendors. With Mama Ejiro as its first director, she drove a modest car and lived simply, saving most of her salary. And every Sunday, she returned to Ojalegba, not as a billionaire's daughter, but as family, to sell Accra with Mama Ejiro and remember where she learned what it truly meant to be wealthy. Marcus watched his daughter from the mansion window and smiled. His princess was gone, but his legacy was secured in someone far more valuable, a woman of character, compassion, and strength. And that was worth more than all the billions in the world.